Most Americans derive their wealth from real estate, the house that they bought. Well, that's about to change as Wall Street is buying up more and more houses, forcing people to rent. Let's talk about corporate landlords. Wall Street landlords, this is from Business Insider. Wall Street landlords who've stockpiled $110 billion. $110 billion. They have all of this money and they're going to buy houses to force you to rent, are lying in wait for the biggest American home buying spree yet. So this article is from Business Insider. It's a little too lengthy. I'm not going to read all of it. I'm only going to read the first quarter, 25%. It's not too long, but it's very important because it details what America is going to look like in the future and what America is looking like now. As more of these corporations and these large firms buy up more and more houses, single-family homes in the United States, forcing more of us Americans to rent. The American dream is dead. If you ever thought it was alive, it's dead. Institutional investors have earmarked as much as $110 billion to buy or build single-family homes. Most have dramatically slowed down their purchases in recent months due to interest rate hikes. But investors' strong appetite for rental homes could radically reshape housing in the coming years. Rattled by rising interest rates and a stalling economy, even the most voracious Wall Street investors have grown wary of sinking money into the nation's wobbling housing market. For now, they're proceeding with caution, but their longer-term view is as buoyant as ever. Institutional real estate investors have earmarked as much as $110 billion to purchase or build single-family rental homes that we're going to rent because we can't afford fucking homes for ourselves in the coming years. According to an estimate by Zelman and Associates, a real estate research and investment banking firm. The sum is the largest ever amassed by investors. It's the largest sum ever amassed to buy and acquire homes. To acquire American houses, enough to add almost 400,000 homes to the already expansive inventory of roughly 700,000 single-family properties now controlled by corporate landlords. 700 single-family properties are currently controlled by corporate landlords, and that number is going to go skyrocket. The investors eyeing homes include public companies that focus specifically on single-family rental investments such as Invitation Homes and Tricon Residential, major alternative asset firms like Blackstone and KKR, and a growing number of wealth managers, insurance companies, and pensions including CalPERS, Invesco, and Pacific Life. Institutional investors now own about 3%, and if you think 3% is small, that we shouldn't be worried, you should be worried about what's to come. Of the roughly 20 million single-family rental homes in the United States, according to Roofstock, an online marketplace for single-family investment properties, by 2030, this is in 7 years, MetLife Investment Management predicts that share will grow to 40%, not 14%, which is still too high, 40%, from 3% to 40%, or about 7.6 million homes they're going to own. That would be nearly 9% of the roughly 88% of single-family homes in the U.S., according to the Census Bureau's most recent statistics from 2020, which is still too high. The pending investment is the next chapter in the remarkable rise of single-family rentals, or SFRs. SFR is single-family rentals, as a major asset class among institutional investors. According to people who track the industry, large buyers are mostly on the sidelines now, but their quest for market share is set to resume as home prices drop and interest rates stabilize. If they achieve their ambitions, they'll radically reshape housing in America. It's the biggest mountain of capital we've ever seen to acquire homes, said Rick Palacios Jr., the director of research at John Burns Real Estate Consulting, a housing analysis and data firm that tracks SFR, single-family rentals investment. This article is almost ending, but they're throwing a lot of statistics at you. Very important statistics. So institutional investors now own 3%. In 7 years, that's about to change to 40%, or 7.6 million homes. And that's about 9% of the roughly 88 million single-family homes in the U.S., and that number is increasing dramatically. They're saying it's the biggest mountain of capital we've ever seen to acquire homes. So this is a wave, a financial wave for corporate landlords. Institutional buyers began purchasing homes shortly after the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009, when hundreds of thousands of houses across the country could be purchased on the cheap. They got it on the cheap, ladies and gentlemen. More recently, the pandemic and the rise of remote work compelled more Americans to rent and buy single-family homes, moving farther afield from traditional urban job centers in search of more room, outdoor space, and privacy. Big investors took notice. In the first 2 years of the pandemic, institutions committed more than $50 billion to the SFR, single-family rentals space, according to an estimate from John Burns. Though 2022 has presented new hurdles, the booming business has been lucrative for the industry's biggest players. In 2021, Invitation Homes, which owned more than 80,000 single-family homes, turned a profit of nearly $263 million. You think they're going to stop at that number? You think they're not going to eat up more houses and more land and more properties here in the U.S., pushing you away from your American dream? Up 33% from the year prior. Up 33% from just the last year, the prior year. American Homes for Rent, which owned about 57,000 homes, cleared $211 million, a 36% increase year over year, 36%. And so the article continues on. I'm not going to read further. This you can read by yourself if you're, really interested in horror movies, because this is a horror movie here. It's called Wall Street Landlords Who've Stockpiled $110 billion Are Lying in Wait for Their Biggest American Home Buying Spree Yet. Ladies and gentlemen, they are pushing us away from our American dream. And they are buying up more properties, forcing us to rent. These are corporate landlords. This is going to be more commonplace in America, where we're renting. We are renting for life. Not just for a few years either. We're renting for life to sustain ourselves, or else we become homeless. Like one of the poverty and homeless videos I made a few days ago. It's either rent one of these corporate landlords' properties or become homeless. There is no owning your own home. That's going to be true for the majority of Americans, the overwhelming majority. People are going to say, that's not me. I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to make money. I'm going to buy my own home. For the vast majority of us, that's not true. We're all going to rent. If we can afford it, if we can stay out of the streets. This is so scary. What needed to happen, but isn't, is that the U.S. government should have said no. Corporations cannot buy property. Only human beings can. But unfortunately, they made the law that corporations are humans, are persons, and thus have rights, the same rights that we do, which is absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And so the U.S. government should have stepped in and said, no, corporations cannot buy housing. They can fix up and build property, sure, but they cannot buy housing because this is a dangerous slope that we're walking in. Now we're just going to have corporate landlords. This is a very scary America, ladies and gentlemen. And a large part of it is because our U.S. politicians are inept. They're not capable of doing stuff for the American people, and a lot of them are corrupt. They take money from lobbying groups. This is a scary phenomenon. Read it on your own time. It's, ladies and gentlemen, $110 billion lying in wait. And this is going to just increase. It's not going to stop. Where profits are to be made, they're going to increase this investment. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, comment, like, let me know what you guys think. If you are listening to this on the podcast, tweet me, let me know what you think. This is so scary. And Halloween just passed us a few months ago too. Take care.